wanted to be a father that would have the ability to be able to say, this is what you do not do. Here's what it did to me. So therefore, don't do what it did to me. Wasted time, led to doubt, made me chase things that were unfruitful, but I had to see for myself. Doing many things, pursuing different things, trying to get a result that was just outside my reach or impossible. And maybe sometimes in your development, while learning how to read the market price and how to find your own style and approach, sometimes it feels like you just can't get it. Once in a while, you'll have this flash of understanding, but it's too short-lived. Doesn't stay around long enough. Doesn't linger enough for you to feel confident in yourself. Sometimes you have this amazing ability to see precise entry points, precise draws on liquidity. You can see where the bias is, what it's going to do, how it's going to behave. But it's not happening enough for you. So you go and you pursue something else. Because you're impatient, you don't want to wait for the thing that you're supposed to be looking for. You chase after things. This thing looks like it's going to go up. You have no real reason why to believe it's going to go up. But you expect it, you chase it, and it hurts you, and it burns you. Now, instead of taking that lesson and taking it as a deterrent from doing that again, some of you will do that same thing again, expecting a different result. And you'll get burned again. While doing these things, you don't see the scar tissue that you're creating. You think, I'm going to beat this. I'm not going to change the way I'm doing it. I'm going to do it on my own terms. My own way of doing it. And while there may be something that's been explained to me in a rule-based idea that I have to follow by someone else's instructions, I just want to be a kid. It's like Toys R Us slogan. The markets are not a toy store. And it's not a place where you can be a kid. It's not a video game. It's not a game at all. It's war. And when you set out in an endeavor to try to do something in these markets, using limp noodle logic and infancy in your understanding, infancy in your aptitude, and no model. No model at all. No patience. No specific rule-based idea to follow. You just forge ahead and try to find yourself in the chaos. And in the process, you burn your account. You burn your hope. Over time, it burns your desire to want to do this. And it sears in your mind that this is probably impossible for you. And you're slowly pushing yourself away from it. But you have friends online that you made acquaintance with. You're part of groups. You're part of mine. You're in this community. And you tell yourself, I just can't let go of it. I can't do it. but I can't stop. But you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not following the rules. You're not following the instructions. You're doing everything but the very thing that you're told to do. And you are burning your house, your dreams, your confidence, the passion that led you to want to do this at all. And you're lying to yourself because you're telling yourself that it's impossible for you to do this. And I agree. It's impossible for you to do what you're doing outside of the instructions that was given to you. Specific instructions. And when you look at your ashes, which you've burnt up, pursuing something that had no logic for it potentially panning out profitably, instead of identifying the lack of control that was required, but you shed no concern in that. You placed all the emphasis on doing it your way. Your way, through a very myopic, limited understanding, infantile, pushing the button, expecting something to finally give you the confirmation that you're doing the right thing by not following instructions. And you won't stop because you want that more than simply following logic that works. That's a discipline issue. That's not a flawed concept, flawed idea, fake concepts, or too rigid of a model. So you'll end up in this situation if you place yourself there, feeling as if you're never going to be able to do this. You're never going to be able to find your way into consistency. The market's going to continuously beat you down. So why keep trying? Why bother? What's the point? Every time you try to do it, it fails. But see, what you're trying to do is outside of what you were instructed to do. What was the model? Were you employing the model? Or were you doing everything outside of it? Because you were impatient and you weren't willing to wait for that model to form in the marketplace. I can tell you, as a younger man, I had that impulsiveness. I was reckless. I did everything outside of the rules. I would sit down over the weekend. I'd write this plan out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And with the cares of the world, my job, everything that was going on around me, I don't have time to wait for that thing to form. I think this next bar, because I didn't use candlesticks back then, I think it's going to go up. I think it's going to go down. I was bullish 5 minutes ago, but now I think it's going to go down. That's not following a model. That's being impulsive. That's trading from your gut. That hunch, that inclination that you think you see something that you really never seen before, but you'll lie to yourself and say, yeah, this looks like something I've seen before. And what you're showing is you have no patience to wait for the model. And to dull that ache, that pain of not being willing to sit and wait for the setup to form. for the time of the day for that setup to form. You'll push the button in times of the day when there isn't any expectation for the market to be delivering any measure of precision, demanding that it does tricks for you and pays you for your consideration of it, like it owes you something. You identified it. You've given recognition to the market, those candlesticks. You've given some of your time. You've placed everybody else and everything to the sidelines, and you've now given all of your attention to that candlestick chart. So now it owes you something. That's a lie, but you believe it wholeheartedly. And you think every time pushing the button outside of the parameters, outside of the time that these setups should form, you're victimizing yourself, causing a learning curve that would never end by doing those things. And if you've never done this to yourself, if you are a person that lacks patience and falls victim to impulsiveness, this is one of the things I talked about many times over the years. If your relationships and the way you conduct yourself in the world outside of trading, it will be magnified in trading. If you are someone that is seeking validation, seeking, acceptance, you'll do things that are over the top, expecting to be successful in that. So therefore you can go forth and bring it in front of other people so they can glad hand with you, pat you on the back. Well done. You're awesome. You're a goat. You're the greatest that's ever done it. In trading, those types of things are the worst for motivating. Now, you might end up receiving those accolades as a result of doing things that are more focused, more purpose-driven, more detail-oriented in terms of following a model, but not trading for the sake of attention, status, recognition, a rush to prove something. That's a very, very dangerous path, especially for a young man. Especially for a young man that has a desire to stand out from the crowd, that has done well in other things, and you want this to be easier. Easier because it's somehow owed to you. The market owes you an easier pathway to consistency. And look, you're a natural. You'll be able to do this without any kind of rules. That's what your subconscious is talking to you. It's telling you, you don't need to listen to that stuff. And that's exactly what it was telling me as a 20-year-old too. You have to have rules. You have to. And if you do not recognize that, and you think that you can just impulsively just press buttons, trade on your impulsiveness and your gut feeling about where price is going to go, no probabilities behind what it is that you're doing, and then ignoring that that is not working, it will put you into a gambler cycle. You keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's not giving you the results, but you're not letting go of it. You're going to keep doing it because you accept the fact that you did that wrong. then, but you want to sweep it under the rug and go right back in and say, yes, it didn't work that time, but I know it'll work the next time. If you just simply recalibrated all of that energy, all of that focus on the right things. Everyone that blows their account fails at something. It doesn't have to be trading, it can be anything. Everyone that goes outside of the plan, the approach, the playbook, the results are random. You have no baseline to work within. You're building a new one that's outside of the scope of the rules and outlined process that you should be following for whatever endeavor you're doing. But for trading, you have a model, or you should have a model. And you need to follow that. Stick to the rules. Trust that these rules will guide you and remove all of the impulsiveness, because the rules say, I do this, I don't do that. I can only trade this pattern and setup in between this time frame, this beginning and ending window. You don't trade 15 hours after that and expect the same type of response in price action. You don't do those things. By recalibrating that impulsiveness, but sticking to your guns, because you know if you keep doing it long enough, eventually you're going to get a result that you're looking for. And then by getting it, you think that's a reward for doing the right thing when everything you're doing is the wrong thing. You're trading outside of a model. You're trading impulsively. You're impatient. You're not waiting for the setup to form. Because you're having an issue with discipline. You don't want to subscribe to an idea that someone else has walked before you, lays it down in front of you and says, hey, start here, only do these things. And then you fail it. And you fail it again. And you fail it again. Multiple times, over and over and over again. And it becomes an arm wrestling match. You want to show the teacher that they don't know you. They don't understand you. You're going to be the exception. You're the one that these models aren't built for. You're going to redefine everything. Yeah, I was me too at 20-some years old. So you can imagine how frustrating it is for me to see, number one, my students do that, but also children that I had high expectations for, that they would see what I'm able to do and they would want to be better than me. Like, I was expecting my kids to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do it faster and better and more precise than Dad.